2017's Motorsport Manager on PC was a great management sim that put you in the role of team manager of a racing outfit. In the same way that Motorsport Manager on PC was an adaptation of a mobile game, so is Motorsport Manager on Switch. This 2019 game derives from Motorsport Manager 3 on mobile and brings with it a few new features, but excludes much of the more nuanced management found in Motorsport Manager on PC. Motorsport Manager on Switch is not the same as Motorsport Manager on PC. As previously mentioned, Motorsport Manager on Switch derives from a newer mobile version of Motorsport Manager, and instead of getting an update like the PC version, the Switch version retains much of its mobile roots. Despite this, the overall layout of Motorsport Manager on Switch is largely similar. You're still in charge of making the major decisions of running your racing outfit both on and off the track. Additionally, Motorsport Manager on the Switch includes both Endurance and GT car championships, as well as the standard single-seater championship. The difference here is that much of the management aspect of the game has been streamlined for better and for worse. You begin the game in much the same fashion as Motorsport Manager on PC. You start off by getting to slightly customize your character, and then choosing one of three backgrounds. These options include being a former engineer or driver, with the financial background being available as well. Your background will dictate a major passive benefit that you'll receive. For example, you can earn a reliability bonus for every part built or a reduction in overall cost on all purchases. Once you've proceeded to your first race, you'll notice a major change if coming from Motorsport Manager on PC, the removal of practice. Motorsport Manager on Switch had to replace the awful practice and qualifying setup from the original on PC that had players aimlessly attempting to set up the car. Race weekends are a lot quicker this time around as a result. Much of this change stems from the exclusion of practice during the race weekend, as it knocks off a third of what is to be completed. This time around, car setup and qualifying is based on cards and mechanic skill level. Each card has a minimum and maximum value that provides a percentage bonus. The closer you get your car to 100%, the closer you are to shaving off a full second of lap time. The higher your mechanic skill level, the more aggressive you can be in choosing cards, as you have a smaller chance of busting, and thus reducing your car setup. I much prefer this setup to the guesswork that was on PC, as the exclusion of practice makes this portion of the game a lot less annoying and time consuming. In the race itself, you're presented with the same options as on PC. Your job is ultimately to give your drivers a winning chance by dictating how hard they push. You're in charge of both their fuel and tire usage, as well as which drivers prioritize with the best strategy. Driver improvement has also been simplified, with the drivers now gaining a skill point when they level up. As the boss, you get to choose which stats you want to invest these points into, with categories such as braking and cornering. In contrast to the relatively slow pace in Motorsport Manager on PC, the process of increasing a driver's talent is far faster here. Also, scouting for drivers and staff is entirely absent in this iteration. Instead, you're able to view all the stats of those you can hire immediately, as well as the sponsor pool of potential drivers. Through the streamlining of much of the sim aspect, Motorsport Manager on Switch has lost the depth and difficulty it had on PC. This has caused the Switch version to become quite underwhelming when it comes to any decisions beyond the surface level. For example, instead of meticulously planning which facilities to build or upgrade as on the PC version due to limited funds, your team's headquarters are split into 3 departments, including part development, driver development, and financial development. These departments can be upgraded quite fast due to how quickly you can amass funds in this version. Additionally, there is a seasonal invitational event that provides a huge amount of income, which surely makes monetary decisions less of a challenge, since you can earn up to an extra $10 million per season. Though, in what I feel is a way to dampen the loss of depth, Motorsport Manager on Switch has added multiple new aspects. The first being influence, a kind of premium currency, which is something that can be earned every race and can have some relatively large impacts. With influence, you're able to develop better parts by cheating, or you can even change what is being voted on in the GMA. When building parts now, it's been simplified so that your 3 engineers provide performance or reliability points at varying percentages, and you can upgrade your HQ to unlock a lead engineer that can provide added bonuses such as higher performance or reliability and car bonuses. Additionally, in Motorsport Manager on Nintendo Switch, you have access to a Supplier Network. After choosing a starting supplier in one of 3 locations, you're able to acquire assets to purchase new suppliers in any direction so long as they are connected to an asset you currently own. Each supplier provides an initial acquisition bonus, and as you collect assets, you can unlock more supplier bonuses. The time it takes to acquire an asset varies, but the more assets you have, the more bonuses you can unlock. Each supplier has 3 bonuses available to purchase by spending these assets. They range in what they do, but they are all helpful in one way or another. Another addition is the Young Driver program, which lets you choose 3 individuals from a pool of drivers. The 3 drivers remain there for a year, and you have the option of signing one of them thereafter. While this is a nice feature to make Motorsport Manager seem more realistic, it isn't fleshed out at all. Random events occur to them based on their background that will affect their stats and potential as drivers. It's very bare bones and literally has no management aspect to it whatsoever. While undoubtedly an addition, it does the least in making it worthwhile. Being a mobile game at heart, Motorsport Manager looks decent when playing in handheld mode, though the game suffers quite a bit when playing in docked mode. While in handheld mode, the game's lack of detail is still discernible, but the smaller screen helps to mitigate some of this damage. On the other hand, when Motorsport Manager is being played in docked mode, its roughness stands out quite a bit. Nothing really looks good at all. The track and its surroundings are quite muddy and have incredibly low texture detail. Unfortunately, this extends to the cars as well. It's a shame that no work was done to make it look better, as it is quite jarring that it looks this bad when played in dock mode. While the presentation is only hard to deal with on some occasions, Motorsport Manager on Switch has a consistent problem. An incredibly annoying issue is that the game screen randomly loses control and scrolls to wherever it wants. The destination of the scroll is seemingly random. For example, when I'm looking to acquire new suppliers, the screen shoots off to the far left incredibly quickly and forces me to exit in order to reset the screen. When I'm on any screen that can scroll up or down, the same occurs, completely at random. No screen is off limits to this issue and is something that has persisted since launch. This issue occurs in both docked and handheld mode, so there's really no escaping it. It's hard to believe that this is an oversight, as it occurs during each one of my playthroughs, and I'm honestly surprised that Motorsport Manager on Switch launched with an issue like this that hasn't been addressed at all. Overall, Motorsport Manager on Switch feels very much like a shell of what it could and I feel should be. By simply porting the game to Switch from mobile without updates, like what was done with the PC version, we're stuck with a game that, while still fun, is quite underwhelming in the management aspect. The overall feeling of Motorsport Manager is still there, but to a lesser extent. This, in addition to the odd camera scroll, certainly stick out as the main issues. Despite these issues though, a lot of the changes in this version are welcome additions in my eyes, and I hope to see them in a future iteration of Motorsport Manager. Motorsport Manager on Switch is still a fun game, but if you're coming from PC, just be wary of the amount of managing you will be doing.